Hey everyone, it's the Gib from THC Digest. First thing I want to say is Happy New Year's. It's the time for making goals, so I made a couple goals for myself for my next grow. I had made some mistakes in my last grow, and I realized them in my grow, but I couldn't do anything about it because um, the the damage had already been done. So I hope to correct those mistakes in this next grow, and I'll be going over that, throughout the grow. Um, so my first goal for the year is that I want to get a better output or a better yield on this grow than I did on my last one. And I try to do that with every grow, so that's not really um, out of the ordinary. My last grow was 8.5 ounces. Um, this time, I just hope to beat that. Ideally, I would like to get 12 ounces because I figure I use probably about an ounce a month. So if I grew 12 ounces, then that would last me an entire year. So then I would only have to do one grow a year, and that sounds good to me. So 12 ounces would probably be the max I would ever try to grow at once. So, so that's where I hope to get to someday. So, in any case, my other goal is that I want to finish this new strain. It's White Widow. I want to finish it before 420 this year, um, for obvious reasons. So, Um, and I like to have a new strain because I use the same strains because I'm always using my own stuff. So I use the same strain over, every day, and you know, the effects get less and less over time. So I would like to switch at that time to a new strain, um, because the effects will be greater. So that will be even better. So those are my two goals. So I don't have my seeds yet, but and when I do get them, I'm going to make a video to show how, when I start germinating them and all that stuff, the beginning seed stuff. So I'm going to show all that. But I've actually been getting a lot of questions about my equipment, my supplies that I use, sort of basic setup questions, and that sort of thing. So I'm just gonna go through all the stuff that I use, and I'm gonna show you. I have links below that you can go right to the stuff that I use, or you can look around too. And then I show you how it's all set up and how I put it all together. So basically, my system will be ready to go once I get my seeds. And I'll show all that. So here we go. Okay, so this is all well, not all of it, most of the equipment and supplies that I use for the grow. The first part is, this is most of this stuff right here is what I would consider the hydroponic system. So here's the main part, the tank. I don't know how many gallons this will hold, but I put 5 gallons of water in here. You can actually see it marked right there, and that's how high the 5 gallon mark is. So that's what I fill it up to. This right here, this is the water pump. It's going to pump the water up through this. This will connect right here. And it will connect to the top here. And then all of these blue tubes will feed up into the plants, into the pots. They're right here, and these pots will be filled with these hydroton pellets. Oh, And there will also be rock wool in there too, which you'll see eventually. But that will be used to hold the seeds. And so each one of these pots will go into the holes in the top of this lid. And again, this water tube will feed up the water through into these pots. And that's how each one of them will get water. Another important part of the hydro system is this is an air pump. And it connects to this air stone and it just connects in right there. And this will constantly feed oxygen into the water. If that doesn't happen, the roots will die. So that's obviously not good. So that's most of what the hydro system is. In the next clip, or a different clip, I'll show you the lighting system. There's a few components there. But while we're here, these are all the supplies that I use. This right here, this is one of the Flora series. I use General Hydroponics. It's called the Flora series. These are the nutrients. These three right here. This one is, it's called a pH buffer. Well, this one is pH up. There's also pH down. And you need those because one of the most important parts of growing hydro is that the pH level of the water matters, and it's very sensitive. If it's off balance, your plants are going to pay for it. So you have to have ways to control the pH. The last thing is, this is like an enzyme to prevent root rot. Root rot is like a natural thing that happens as your plant grows and parts of the leaves die naturally. Roots are going to die, and this leaves like, dead organic matter within your roots. And these enzymes, it's called canozyme, but these enzymes just feed on this dead matter and basically keep your roots clean. So now I'll show you the water and the light as well. Alright, so here's the how we do our watering. This right here is actually a faucet from a filtration system we bought. It's called the Aquasana filtration system or whatever. There's a filter underneath the sink, and it feeds up into the piping, and then we have this faucet. So when it just comes out filtered water. And so as you can see, we just went to like Home Depot. No, we went to a local hardware store. But we just got some tubing, and this just hooks up right into a 5-gallon jug we got from Walmart. So whenever I clean out the tank and all that stuff, I fill this 5-gallon tank all the way up to the top, and that's what I use as my new source of water or whatever. So, and then I also have a 1-gallon for my milk. I have 1 gallon of, I use this for, it's mostly for in the flowering stage, because when you're flowering, the plants drink a lot of water, as much as 1 gallon a day, I would say. So when they drink that much, you're going to have to give them more water in between cleaning. So this is what I do. I wait until it gets to 4 gallons, and then I just give it another 1 to top it off at 5. So what I'm going to do now is, before I even grow, I like to remark my fill line. I just use a permanent marker. So I'm going to fill up 4 of these for 4 gallons. I'm going to mark a line for the 4 gallon line, and then I'll add another gallon, and that'll be my 5-gallon. So, like I said, when it gets down to 4 gallon, I'll see it hit that line. I add 1 gallon, and it's up to 5. So this is what the fill lines look like. Now we're in the closet. I just wanted to show you real quick the setup. So my power source is over here. I have a surge protector, and then this is where I plug in all my stuff. I have a heater. For the lighting system, this is my lighting timer. You don't want to be switching your stuff on, you know, by trying to remember it. This is all automatic, and it should be. And then this system goes in. The lighting system I have is an HID system, which means high intensity discharge. You know, there's a lot of people who would say that HID is probably the best for growers. I think that would probably be the general consensus. I know there are people that would argue that point, but HID is probably the best bang for your buck. There are problems that come with it, like heat and all that, but I'll show you. I'll show you what I have, and then you can do your own research to decide what lighting system you want. And I do think the lighting system you choose is probably the most important decision you make, because light is super important in grows. It's the food source for your plants, so that's a huge decision to make. So this is my setup. I have a ballast down here. The ballast helps regulate the electricity going into your light so it doesn't mess up. I have a magnetic ballast. There's also digital ballast. Now I would say I've only used a magnetic one. I've used the same one since I started. If I were to buy a ballast now, I would probably buy a digital one, just because it's more efficient, gives more stable electricity output, etc. But if you were going to buy a magnetic or a digital one, I would say for now, either one is probably good. They're probably about the same amount of effectiveness. So that ballast connects up. There's a cord going up here, connects into the reflector on the hood for the light, and then we have the light bulb in there. Right now we have high pressure sodium in there right now, but we're going to change that out to metal halide, because that's what we want for the vegetative state.